Marlow barked at the front door, but Leanne quickly told him to hush as she made her way through the house, picking up pieces of newspaper he had ripped while she was distracted drying her hair. Then she was making her way towards the trash can to throw out some more pieces of paper when she realized her sock was saturated. "You were just outside, Marlow," she screamed. She truly thought puppies would grow out of these pesky habits as they grew older, but that just wasn't the case. Suddenly, they heard a roaring sound outside. It was time for them to say goodbye. Leanne had always dreamed of having her own puppy. She used to stare at dogs on the streets, hoping one day to have her very own furry son. But her mother strictly forbade even getting near a pup, as she had caught her trying to feed a stray at McDonald's when she was 7. Finally, she was old enough to make her own rules, and she was still dead set on getting a dog. As a grown-up, Leanne had her own money, and she was in a pretty stable financial situation. She didn't really want to start a family yet, but she did want something to come home to. In the end, what's the point in working so hard only to come home to an empty home? Leanne was used to waking up and falling asleep to nothing but silence. Then one day, she was on her way to work. She spotted a lonely puppy that seemed lost. Immediately, Leanne took the baby black Labrador to the vet. As expected, the poor pup was malnourished, weak, and was suffering from mange. He had obviously been abandoned, which really made her heart sink. She realized right then and there she needed to adopt him. If she kept postponing it, it would just never happen. What if she lost her job or something just happened and she couldn't take care of it? In a way, she felt that fate brought them together, but loyalty would play a role as well. After many months of treatment, Marlow was finally a healthy dog and in great shape. He kept getting stronger and stronger, and he adored his little trips to the office. Leanne's co-workers loved him, and he loved playing around with them too. Soon he was so big, she couldn't keep hiding him in a cardboard box anymore. She had no choice but to leave him home. But then he started showing off his true colors. Every time she got back home, her heart sank. Marlow had managed to completely destroy her house. Everything was torn to pieces. He peed on the rugs, he bit, scratched and chewed anything he found lying around the house, and he even smashed a few lamps. After a while, Leanne dreaded getting back home, worried about what she might find. She realized it was time to talk to the vet, but when she took Marlow to his office, she couldn't have expected the vet's diagnosis. The vet realized what was going on. According to him, Marlow was suffering from separation anxiety, as he was used to being constantly surrounded by people now. Whenever Leanne left the house, Marlow's anxiety started to increase until he became totally agitated. That's why the pup kept howling, crying, and barking whenever she was about to leave the house. Finally, the second Leanne got home, he switched back to his old pleasant self. Now that she knew what was going on with Marlow, what was she supposed to do? Leanne thought that getting someone to dog sit Marlow would perhaps help with the situation, but this was proving to be quite a difficult task. She kept putting up flyers and posters, and even posted on countless Facebook pages and groups. It seemed like no one was interested in taking care of Marlow. Meanwhile, the pup was still rummaging through all of Leanne's belongings, and he seemed to be getting worse and worse. She didn't know what to do at this point. Being a responsible fur mom came with some extra duties. Leanne started researching studies, reading books, and watching videos online. She tried everything you could think of. Massage therapy, going on long walks, giving him extra attention, but nothing seemed to work. She went back to the vet, desperate, but the only solution he offered was medication, which she simply refused. She wasn't about to medicate Marlow's issues. There was still one thing she could do. She covered Marlow with a fitting jumper in an attempt to keep him warm from the harsh winds. Then she put a harness on him, dreading the fact that it was time to say goodbye. She had finally found her furry soulmate, who's been there by her side all of this time. But he was a messy dog, and she didn't know what else she could do. Maybe some time off was exactly what they needed. Suddenly, they heard a honk outside. Leanne opened the door. She quickly realized how cold it was as the winter air made its way inside the house. Marlow was a big dog with enough fur to keep him warm, but it wouldn't be enough to help him fight off the weather. He sank his paw into the fresh snow. Leanne had removed the snow from her driveway the night before. There was a yellow school bus waiting for him, and inside there were a ton of crates filled with animals of all sizes and shapes. "It won't be for long. Come on," Leanne told Marlow, who was visibly worried. Then she handed him to the driver. After months of research, 5 to be exact, Leanne was finally able to find a trustworthy and reliable dog sitter. Marlow was in desperate need of being in a large area where she could run freely, but most of all, he needed to be surrounded by people. One day, she heard about Good Hands boarding kennels, which was exactly what they both needed. She encouraged the pup to hop on board, but he wasn't really feeling it. The trip wasn't that long, but it was sure a tedious one for Marlow, who was stuck inside a cage. The other metal and plastic cages would bang against each other every time the bus hit a bump on the road. All the animals in the back were howling throughout the trip. They obviously missed their owners. Leanne hated saying goodbye to Marlow, but she knew it was for the best. Once the bus came to a halt, the driver unlatched each crate one by one. When he finally opened the back doors, a crowd of animals rushed towards the building. They were greeted by a team of volunteers along with Rachel Haggett, all dog lovers. They surrounded her like lions ready to pounce. No one would believe what was behind those 4 walls. Good Hands Boarding Kennel is one of Nova Scotia's best-kept secrets. They boast an impressive space for animals to run free. Plus, they feature swings, toys, balls, bones, and enough treats for everyone. "I hate the thoughts of them sitting at home all day, bored or in a crate, when they could be here and playing," said Haggett. Plus, the team provides the animals with enough hugs, kisses, and love, so Marlow finally got a chance to relax. And thankfully for Leanne, her carpets remained pristine and pee-free.